Welcome to the Pop Cult Online Power Hour, the video podcast dedicated to the 10-year-old and all of us. And I'm your host, Rick Gordon. Well, it's another week and another show. So grab a friend, grab your favorite beverage, and join us. We'll be right back after these brief messages.
The adventure continues. Now with Batman, the serial. And nothing can slow him down. Nothing can stop him from bringing it to you. It's here. A smashing taste. A honey-nut-flavored part of your complete breakfast. Batman cereal.
Well, here we are on Robinson Crusoe's island.
Yay!
Mr. Crusoe! Mr. Crusoe?
Oh, go away. I like it here.
But we want to take you back to civilization.
Civilization. What do you have that I don't?
Electric lights?
I've got 100-watt lightning bugs.
Air conditioning?
24 hours a day.
Ah, but do you have a cereal that stays crunchy even in milk?
Of course not. There's no such a thing.
Now there is. It's Captain Crunch cereal.
Made sweet and crunchy. It's already sweetened for you. And it stays crunchy.
Even in coconut milk. Now that's what I call civilized.
Peachy! Now will you come with us?
Why should I? Now that I've got Captain Crunch, I've got everything.
You'll love Captain Crunch.
For 5 years, I've had only one thought: survive.
Oliver Queen is alive.
I am returning. Not the boy who was shipwrecked, but the man who will bring justice to those who have poisoned my city. Those who rule through intimidation and fear. Every last one of them will wish I had died on that island.
He was wearing a hood, a green hood, and he had a bow and arrow.
We'll put out an APB on Robin Hood.
Did your father survive that accident? Did he tell you anything?
He told me I'm gonna kill you.
All units converge!
It looks like Starling City has a guardian angel.
Tell me you saw that?
Nobody can know my secret.
The Pop Cult Online was filmed in front of a live studio audience. We join our show already in progress.
Iron Rick Gordon.
Malibu Bob Breetall. I love that hat. I love that hat.
Got a feather.
You look like Oliver Queen, the Silver Age version.
I was just talking on Facebook with someone about, they were asking me why I was not a big fan of what's going on with DC. I'll back up a second. So the numbers came out for January for comic sales. And Marvel trounced DC as usual, but they were like double DC.
Wow.
Numbers. Let me look on my blog, really. It's on Comic Spectrum. If you go to the news page on Comic Spectrum, it'll have the sales thing. So anyway, so I was on there, and it was like Marvel was 44% of sales, and DC was 22% of sales,
oh my God.
Which is, a pretty fair discrepancy between the two, right? Mm-hmm. And so I posted on the Comic Spectrum on the thing, and so it came out. People are like immediately jumping, DC sucks, and they deserve it because they suck, and all this kind of business. And it's like, so it's like dollar share, Marvel got 44%, little over, DC got 22. Unit share, it was Marvel 48, DC 24. So they're pretty much double in both.
Yeah.
I found myself in a funny position there because, it's like, I'm not reading any. Well, I read like the Green Lantern series by Van Sciver, and I'm getting Legends of Wonder Woman by Renee DeLiz. But I'm really not getting that many DC superhero books.
Right.
So I've kind of passed on them as well. So all these people are like, getting out their DC hate, and they're like, oh, DC sucks, and the numbers just prove it. And I was like, well, I can't really, I don't think it's fair to say that DC sucks because you don't like the books. It's
right.
just like, there's a lot of people who really like the DC books. Now, they're not selling as well as the Marvel books, but there's a lot of other factors involved. Marvel's got Star Wars, right? Mm-hmm. Marvel's got all these really uber popular movies.
Right.
They've got a lot of things going for them. And I don't care for it, but Scott Snyder's run on Batman, a lot of people are saying that it's the best Batman ever in existence. Now,
really?
I will agree that it's their favorite Batman. Mm-hmm. That's where you get a little ippy when people start declaring things to be the best, right? It's like what they really mean is this is my favorite, but it comes out as this is the best. And my issue with that is when someone says something is the best, or conversely, they say something is terrible or the worst, it's like someone says something that you like is the worst thing ever. Well, if that's actually objectively true and you like the worst thing ever, there's something defective about you, right? If you actually like the worst thing ever, conversely, if you don't like the best thing ever, what's wrong with you, So when people speak in these absolutes like that, it gets kind of funny to me. And I can agree that, I can't disagree, rather, if somebody says, hey, this is my favorite comic series, or this is my favorite Batman story. Okay, I have my favorite, you have your favorite, who can disagree with that? You can't really disagree with that, but, it's the same, it's like around December when everybody's putting out the best of the year, lists. And it's like, well, yeah, it's somebody's opinion on what the best is. It's not an absolute, fact. So back to Green Lantern, Green Arrow, rather really quick. So someone asked me on that thread, they said, Bob, well, you're not getting DC books. Well, what don't you like about DC books? And I said, well, it's many different things, but as an example, they've taken Green Arrow and turned him into the TV version of Green Arrow. Mm-hmm. That doesn't appeal to me. I like the Green Arrow TV show. I like the Flash TV show. But I don't need to read a comic book that's the same as the TV show.
Right.
To me, they're two different things. Go over to Walking Dead. The Walking Dead TV show and the comic are two different things. They don't exactly follow the same storyline. There's some different characters, and they're not trying to make them exactly the same as one another.
Right.
So, that's fine. But I don't need to read a Green Arrow comic that's exactly like, because my Green Arrow is the guy with the beard, and that's just the Green Arrow that I like. And, it's like, that doesn't mean that the Green Arrow that's in comics right now is bad. It's just that I don't care for him. Mm-hmm. And, as a result, I'm not going to be reading that, that comic. So, is what it is.
It is what it is. Well, I understand what you're saying about the difference between favorite and best. Like, as we often say here on the Pop Cult Online, we are the favorite podcast in all of Australia and New Zealand. But we cannot say that we are the best. Although I will say it, just doesn't mean it. But oh man, I got so much to show you. First off, we both posted pictures of the Batman and Superman cereal, which was, and I was hoping you'd have yours. Yes, perfect.
empty boxes at this point because I opened the cereal so I could taste it.
Uh-huh.
Have you tasted it?
Not yet.
The Superman cereal I like. Mm-hmm. It's a caramel kind of cereal. It's not. I was thinking it was going to be kind of like Cap'n Crunch, but like with the caramel tinge. It wasn't. It was much soft. You know that Cap'n Crunch is very dense and crunchy and hard kind of. It wasn't like that, but it was tasty. It was if you like caramel, it was tasty. The Batman is strawberry chocolate,
which is an odd combination, if you ask me. You go with either just strawberry. It is an odd combination.
When you eat it, it tastes okay. I mean, to me, it tastes okay.
Right.
But it left a really powerful aftertaste. I think it was the whatever chemical they use for the strawberry, because I don't think there's any actual strawberry in this stuff.
Oh, Bob, that was the vitamins and minerals. You know that.
Yeah.
Remember this? This is where all this nonsense started.
I remember that.
And it was a Captain Crunch type cereal. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
And they
I really like Captain Crunch. Captain Crunch is one of my favorite cereals. I don't know what your thoughts are about Captain Crunch, but I'm a big fan of Captain.
Not the plain Crunch. I do peanut butter Crunch, occasionally Crunch Berries. I've really backed off on the cereals in the last 30 or 40 years, but here's the interesting thing. Isn't they part of Purina?
Yep.
So when these kibbles are going down the conveyor belt, there's just like one shoot off towards German Shepherds and the other one towards little kids.
That's right.
So I saw that in the grocery store and immediately thought of you. I was like, I wonder if he's going to buy these. I wonder if they get them out in California. So I just grabbed them.
The funny part was we have a store called Stater Brothers here.
Mm-hmm.
And they usually have these deals, every week. All the grocery stores, they have sales, right? So I go into Stater Brothers day before yesterday, and they were having a deal where 4 boxes of it's one of these things where you have to buy 4 of something in order to get the price.
Yes.
You can't just buy a box.
Yeah, you just want one box.
Mix and match. And it was like, I guess, what are these? General Mills, right? So it was like, buy 4 boxes of these General Mills cereals, and they're $1.77 a box.
Oh, my God. That's
a pretty good price. So I bought the Batman, the Superman. I got some Honey Nut Cheerios and some Rice Chex.
There you go. Well, part of a complete
Janine likes the Honey Nut Cheerios. I like the Rice Chex, and I got the Batman and Superman. $1.77 a box. So I was like, okay, that's a pretty decent price for these things. So did that, and then I made chili today.
Mm-hmm.
But I put crushed tomatoes. A can of crushed tomatoes is one of the ingredients that I use in there, and I didn't have any, so I had to pop over to Stater Brothers a little farther away. There's a Pavilions, which is a Vons. I don't know, you probably don't have the same stores anyway, but this one's really close to my house. So I went in there this morning, and they had a sale on Janine's favorite cereal, which is Quaker oatmeal squares.
Oh, those are good, yeah.
That's her favorite, and they were $1.99 a box if you bought 4. Well, it was oatmeal squares and other, Life and other kinds of things.
God.
Well, she likes the oatmeal squares, and they're normally like, $4 a box or something. So, $1.99 a box is good. So I'll stock up on them. So I bought 4 boxes of those for her.
Christ, that's amazing. The Breetall
They're
pantry
good
is
until
just full.
November, so it'll last her for months. But the Batman and Superman cereal were on the shelf near there, and in this store, they were like $5.25 a box.
Oh, they're speculating.
And I'm like, man, okay.
Well, the thing I liked about these cereals were it wasn't just like a Rice Chex with a big picture of Superman on it. It was actual, Superman cereal, which, just like the Batman cereal, which doesn't come around that often.
And this Batman cereal the little cereal pieces are shaped like little Batman symbols.
Oh, cool.
And on the Superman one, it's a little less obvious, but they're the little pentagon, little S shield kind of shapes.
Jeez.
So, anyway, I can recommend the Superman one. I enjoyed that. The Batman one, I'm a little more iffy on because of that aftertaste that it left me with.
I will try it before the next episode, and I'll give you a... Well, look at this. This is the other thing I saw at the very same trip.
Chewy granola bars.
Yeah, but look at the artwork.
Look at that. So you got a Bob Layton Iron Man. Right? You got a Sal Buscema Captain America.
Exactly. Oh, wait, I think that's John Romita, Thor. Right?
Huh?
John Romita?
Is that Romita?
Yeah.
Maybe. It doesn't look like Romita around the face. It's a Romita Spider-Man.
You got a Kirby and Coletta Thor.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's not all, my friend. Look at this. On the back, you get even more. You get a Tosca Iron Man.
Yeah.
Buscema, John, and then Sal. And I think... on
Trivia.
The side, I'm not quite sure.
That looks almost like John Byrne.
That's what I was thinking, too. But, yeah, check out the trivia. I'll just read it off to the audience. Bob, in which World War did Captain America first serve? A, Civil War, B, World War I, C, World War II, and D, the Revolutionary War.
You're giving me a flashback to Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, man.
And then I'm going to leave that to the audience. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody. What year was the first Captain America comic released? You have a choice of 1933, 1941, 1949, and 1955. Those last two dates are significant, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. And 3, who was Captain America's sidekick? Is it Freddie, Louie, Bucky, or Jackie?
That was Jehoshaphat.
Now, the thing that they don't show you is, because, of course, I had to, open it up immediately. There is a Black Widow wrapper on one of the bars there. That was nice. Yeah, because she's not featured on the box, so who knows?
That's interesting.
Yeah. So that was.
How were the bars? So did you eat any of them?
Yeah, I packed them in my lunch. They were okay. Peanut butter, chocolate chips, a little too sugary for my taste, but you know. So, on my travels today, I ran across this. I went to an estate sale in an older house, and this poor little guy was just sitting by himself. So,
ranting.
Yeah. It's okay shape. Nice reader copy. It's issue 9, 25 cents. That's my sweet spot, and yours too. And what you can't see is the crease. Well, wait.
Yeah, subscription crease.
Oh, man. I'm starting to... enjoy those. That's not the first book that I've seen like that out there, and it's almost like a tattoo. It doesn't bother me like it used to. It just said to me that the kid that lived in this house loved the book enough that he had a subscription. And for those of you too young to even know what a subscription is, we used to get these books mailed to our house. But mailboxes came in all sizes, so what the post office, what Marvel would do, the books would be folded in half and wrapped in a brown wrapper, and it would show up like this. Fits right in a mailbox, really neat. So there is probably about a 3-4 year stretch where most of my books have that crease. And the other thing I did is I stopped by Excellent.
So you had subscriptions?
Yes.
I never had a subscription when I was a kid.
Really? Well, yeah, I think you had. Well,
I had so many. Because you lived a little farther away. I mean, I had 5 or 6 places that I could either walk to or ride to on my bike that I could get comics at. So I didn't really need a subscription.
Well, here's my problem. I was so far out in the boonies. Once I got into town, I made my route of the 3 or 4 stores that I went to. But if for some reason my parents didn't feel like going out, they're hungover, whatever, then I was kind of stuck. So
They get hung over a lot, did they?
So at a certain age, I just decided to take the bull by the horns.
Get us some vodka. We need a little bit of the hair.
Get some tomato juice. Daddy's not feeling good.
Take this note. Get me some vodka and ciggies.
Oh, those notes were powerful back then. So yeah, I got Marvel
People
Tales.
Today they can't even comprehend that parents used to be able to give their kid a note, like a little 8-year-old, 9-year-old kid, to get them cigarettes or something. They'd bring it to the store, and the guy at the store would just give this little kid packs of cigarettes and stuff to bring home. They're lazy-ass parents who couldn't go down to the store to get their own cigarettes.
Well, isn't that why you have kids, to go get your cigs? I used to have to walk down the block. This is when I lived in White Plains, and there was this little bar, and the cigarette machine was there. There had no rules against that, so I just, plunk in my quarters, give it a good tug, and make sure you get the matches, because Mom will yell if you don't bring back the matches, and hustle my way back up. So the other thing I did is I went to Excellent Adventure Comics in Ballston Spa. You were there with me, about a year ago. Went to see my pal John, because I haven't been there in a while, and really started missing going to an LCS on a regular basis, because there were a couple of guys there, all about, we're all in the same age range, so, there was a lot of banter, and, I see a guy going through back issues, and I'm looking for stuff, and he's looking for stuff, so we're, helping each other out, and, jumping into conversations on this side of the room, and then jumping in over here, and it was really fun. Until I did this. I bought a comic. Really. A new one.
Spider-Gwen.
Right. So, I don't know if I'm going to even say anything about it. Maybe I'll just actually write a review, because I've got some very strong feelings about this. I'll save that, and it'll go up on Comic Spectrum. Probably.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't want to publish a review that's like you're screed against.
No. This is
man screed against the radioactive Spider-Gwen.
I love the concept. There were just aspects about the book that I want to approach from an older reader who has kind of been out of the new books for a while, who's coming back in my interpretations of what's going on. Because
you bring up another interesting point, and that is, these comics that they're putting out are not written for old men.
Oh my God! Yeah, don't even get Let's move on, because I'm going to get really upset.
No, but I look at it as it's like I read various, like the new Batgirl or some of these books, and I can appreciate that they're well done. I can appreciate the craft that goes into it, and that they're targeting a certain audience. Now, I don't like it. That doesn't mean it's a bad comic. It just means that it's not my cup of tea.
Mm-hmm.
And, I actually look at it as a positive, because we're going to die out at some point. They need to actually attach themselves to the younger readers. So if they're writing these things to appeal to a demographic that I'm not in, I'm okay with that, because there are plenty of other books for me to read that I don't need to be in the target demographic of every comic that they put together.
Right.
It just...
Well, for those readers out there like me, who are just kind of sticking their toes in the water, just dabbling a little bit, you don't want to commit to a weekly subscription to a comic shop, but you kind of want to have an idea where to go. My recommendation is the free, especially for you Marvel zombies out there. This is a great little book, and it'll give you a taste of, everything that's pretty much going on, and you can see within a matter of pages what you want to stay away from as far as your tastes.
Yep.
And what you can gravitate towards. And just a little bit of artwork and a little bit of writing, you can get a pretty good feel for what's going on in a particular book. And I know they've put these out for years, because I've got them all over the place, but this was the first time I actually sat and seriously looked at it to kind of gauge where I was going, because I'm thinking I'm going to get back in. So while I was up there, of course I had to get, some older books. More Millie. Good stuff.
Ooh.
Good stuff. I'm actually, this is going to be my focus. This is the way you are with your Marvel books. I'm going to get every issue of Millie. And it's only 207 issues, so it shouldn't be that hard.
How many do you have now?
I don't even know. I have no idea. Less than 100, maybe. So
they're really hard to find that aren't like really, really beat up,
And then
that's my experience with them. It's like those romance comics are just beat.
God, yeah. You're really hard pressed. Now this I found at an estate sale today. Sunday Comics from 1955. I found another one from 1949 that I wanted to get that had Superman in it, but unfortunately, it was so fragile that you could literally just watch it deteriorate in front of your eyes. I picked it up, and it just immediately started falling apart in my hands. So I had to settle for this one because my kids have never seen Sunday Comics. I know, that sounds crazy, but look at this, Mickey Mouse. Not only do we have Mickey Mouse, we have Uncle Remus. Hooray for 1955. Great stuff. Blondie, Carrie Drake, who I've never heard of, but it's got some great artwork. Peanuts, Captain and the Kids, Mickey Finn, Casey Ruggles, which is a Western. More Carrie Drake. Bobby Sox, which is a gag. Henry, I remember that.
Is that big-headed little kid?
Yeah. Rex Morgan, which I think is still running to this day. Priscilla's Pop, Captain Easy, and Kangaroo. Freckles and His Friends. A lot of these strips I've heard of but haven't actually seen. A lot of gag strips. Here's one by Al Cap, Long Sam. Huh. Al Cap. Look at that. Steve Roper. So if you get a chance... Oh, Superman's in this one. Nice. Done by Wayne Boring. And Superman doesn't even appear in it. Barely. So that was worth the price.
How many pages long is that? That's a long...
Yeah. There's a lot here. Ozark Ike. Oh, Prince Valiant. So there's a lot of stuff here. Fun.
RCA announces a major improvement in video cassette recording. Introducing Selectavision 400. Set it today, and for the next 7 days, the 400 remembers the shows you want recorded. It'll turn itself on and off up to 4 times, even change channels. Selectavision 400, the 4-hour video cassette recorder with the 7-day memory.
Let RCA turn your television into Selectavision.
You're watching KING TV, Seattle.
NBC Sports presents the best of the National Football League, the American Football Conference. Brought to you by Chrysler Plymouth, who invites you to see the sporty Plymouth Arrow, Fire Arrow, and brand new Arrow pickup for $79. By New Schlitz Light Natural Pilsner Beer, still less filling with a taste that's bigger than life. And by Hertz, the superstar in rent-a-car.
Beer.
Yeah, let's have a new Schlitz Light. There's a new taste in Schlitz Light. The taste of natural ingredients brewed into a Pilsner beer. New Schlitz Light. Still less filling with a taste that's bigger than life.
Think we won?
Well, it's not whether you win or lose.
It's the beer you choose.
Schlitz Light. Natural Pilsner beer.
1934, and Joe Jamar over there, he dreams of farming this desert. But where would he get the money to drill for water over 1,000 feet down? Where? From the money folks keep in their full-service bank. You see, America's bankers back Joe and thousands of other farmers, too. So today, food from the San Joaquin Valley reaches every table in America. Your money in the bank made it possible. America's bankers, helping you change things for the better.
$15. Day after day, you seem to get less and less for your money. That's why I like this air filter Fram has brought out, the Extra Life. Inside, not one filter, but two, which helps it last 50% longer than a regular Fram filter. 50% longer, but it doesn't cost any more money. The Fram Extra Life air filter. It's like getting something for nothing.
Introducing the 1979 Plymouth Fire Arrow. It takes imagination to build a car that offers this much performance, but also gets good economy. Thanks to Fire Arrow's hot new 2.6-liter air-injected four-cylinder engine. The 1979 Plymouth Fire Arrow looks like a million, saves like a miser.
And goes like crazy.
That's imagination. That's Plymouth.
A Sports World Special Edition brings you live from Sicily the WBC light heavyweight title fight between champion Matty Parlov and knockout specialist Marvin Johnson. Saturday on NBC.
NBC Sports.
I gotta get through. The guys are counting on me. Lucky we rented this truck. It's a Ryder. Ryder originally says tough trucks. They keep on going. Justin never heard the word quit. Hey, fellas, he made it! I made it! I made it! They said it couldn't be done, but I made it! I drove the truck. I drove you! You're my truck! We're a team! I love you, truck!
Announcing the Bic Shaver for 19 3/4 cents. With a top-quality bonded stainless steel blade that gives you days and days of comfortable shaves. How can Bic sell a shaver like this for so little when nobody else can? Quite frankly, the handle is hollow, practically worthless. What you're really paying for is their quality blade. The Bic Shaver. Hollow handle, superior blade, incredible price.
Super laughs, super fun, super romance, and super surprises in Walt Disney's Super Dad. Tonight on NBC.
Want a gift that stops action indoors and at night? Extra can do. To all the beautiful lights at Christmas, add Extra Light. The new Kodak Extra Light 10 camera. It's got a built-in flash. A built-in action-catching flash that stops whatever you're doing. For more pictures, more places, more often, give a can-do camera. The new Kodak Extra Light 10. Another Open Me First gift to save Christmas in pictures.
Fun. I'm a little wired because I just spent, before we got on the air, probably the last 30 minutes screaming about doctors. Let me tell you this story so I can just get it off my chest. As we all know, I'm diabetic, and that has caused problems with my job in terms of the commercial driver's license that's available to us. So I have to go in for physicals more often because of my condition. It's just a whole rigmarole. So I had almost given up. I just wanted to give up the CDL because it was too much of a hassle, but somebody convinced me to just keep going. So I had a physical, and the doctor at the physical provided by the company said, everything's fine. I'll sign your medical card. All you need to do is have this paper signed by your doctor saying that she treats you for diabetes, which I thought was weird. Why would I make up something like this? You know, I'm not pretending. I do have it. And he's, I know, but we need to have it signed. So, and this is during my lunch hour. So now I schlep over to my doctor's office. After calling him, I called them ahead of time. I was like, listen, I need this paper signed so I can get my release so I can blah, 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 blah. Yeah, come right over. So I get over to the doctor's office. It's like, hi, I just called a few minutes ago. I came to have this paper signed saying that, Dr. Bennett, whoops, didn't mean to say her name, can just sign off and I can get out of here. Oh, well, we can't do that. I was like, well, why not? Well, she has to see you first. Well, she's been seeing me for a couple of years now. She knows I'm a diabetic. I've got prescriptions in her name. No, you need an office visit. Well, all right, well, I'm here. No, you have to schedule one in advance. It's like, what are you talking about? So I lost my temper. And I was just like, this is ridiculous. Screw it. So I just gave up my license and have never been back to that doctor since. And I just don't understand why. It's not like I'm a heroin addict seeking drugs, or it just baffled me. Why couldn't you just, I know I can see her back there. Just slip her the paper. All she's got to do is sign it, and everybody's friends. But she wouldn't do it unless, she's just trying to squeeze another office visit out of me, which is reprehensible.
That's what I was going to go to. That's where it all bottoms down to, right? Mm-hmm. Is an office visit costs a certain amount of money,
right? And which I would have gladly given her if she just did sign. If she had said, if you pay the copay, I'll sign the thing. Fine. I could have gone in and out. But for me to have to because the way my job works nowadays, we used to get out fairly early. You could schedule a late appointment. Nobody's hurt. Now I have to take time off. I literally have to take either a half day or a full day off for a doctor's visit, which is insane to me. Insane. That should be part of whatever. And she just didn't care. She just wanted to squeeze another copay out of me. Well, it ain't happening. So that was my, and I was yelling. I was downstairs just yelling, and Becca's just like, would you just go upstairs? Go to your man cave. It calms you down. So that's my little rant about doctors. But John says hello. We were talking. He was wondering how you were doing. And other than that, no car accidents. Here.
Oh, we had one last Sunday.
What?
Not a big one, but we were over at Target and backed out of our space and stopped, backed up, kind of straightened out a little bit, put it into drive to go forward, but there was somebody else in the aisle, so I couldn't go forward. And at the same, it was one of these aisles where it's a one-way aisle, so the cars on both sides, you're all going one direction. So I had backed up, pulled forward a little bit, but then somebody else was backing out, and I was in their blind spot. So he had a big truck, like a Ford Ranger or something, and we were in a Toyota Camry. So his back corner, his bumper hit the, rear quarter panel of us and just, not bad, but it dented it in.
Yeah.
And boy, I had to spend multiple calls with State Farm. He had State Farm insurance. And just, getting them to finally today they called me and I got them to say, yeah, it's our liability. Because the first person I talked to had made it 70-30, and I'm like, I was stationary and in drive, and how would I go about hitting the rear bumper of a car with my side quarter panel anyway?
Well,
how
if you
exactly
just stayed home,
how exactly does that work?
Did you sing the song to talk to them? Like a good neighbor, State Farm? They never showed up?
No, they never
Bastards.
did. They only do that for people who are their customers. I'm just some bozo who wants them to pay for an accident.
Oh my God.
So anyway, it wasn't bad, but finally, so now, we'll have to go through the whole rigmarole of bringing the car in to get it fixed. And
I think they should provide you with a rental though, so that'll
but still, you gotta, he was asking too. It's like, oh, we'll schedule a rental for you if you want it. And it's just like, you got to leave your car just to do that. It's like at least a week, right?
Yeah.
They got to take the thing off. They got to prime it and paint it and this and that. And it's just a hassle.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a hassle, Well,
I mean, that's exactly what we went through with Connor the first time. And then, we had it for a day and then just totaled it. So.
So that was in the morning, and then on the afternoon, I went to a local comic show that it's been going on for a couple of years. I had never been to it before, and it was called the SoCal Comic Show. It was at the Yorba Linda Community Center, which is not too far from where I live, but, Yorba Linda is, where Richard Nixon was born. The Richard Nixon Library is there.
Oh, cool.
In that city. But I had never been to it before, and it was like pouring rain. It was like it rarely rains here. Pouring rain. But it was all comic dealers, and it was really cool because there must have been like 30 to 35 comic dealers jammed into this community center.
Uh-huh.
And there were no movie actors, no cosplay contest, no.
So this is just a pure comic.
It was just a comic show.
Wow.
There were some of the booths would have like toys and stuff that were comic-y related, but it wasn't. It was just all comic dealers.
Right. So when you say comic dealers, is it like guys that have shops that are also doing this, or is it just guys like I don't even just guys that just do the comic thing on their
like
own.
how you've heard of Harley Yee?
Yes. Yeah.
He was there.
Wow.
There were guys like Harley Yee. I mean, like back issue dealers. Graham Cracker Comics was there.
Okay. Yeah.
From Chicago.
Wow.
And I had never heard of this show before, but it actually brought out like some pretty, big, well-known comic dealers. And I ended up buying, like, the one main one I got was this.
Hey, nice.
So, Christmas for Shacktown. That's a classic, Carl Barks.
That looks amazing.
So I got that, and I got a pretty decent deal on it. And then I just bought a bunch of cheap, because I didn't have that much. But it was fun just looking at, then I just bought a bunch of, 50-cent dollar bin stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But, a lot of great dealers. And some of them were out on because it never rains in Southern California except that day. There were these poor fools who were like set up out on the patio area.
Oh, no.
And they were like all huddled under an overhang, and they had like set up some tarps to keep. But I was like, man, these guys, I didn't even go out there. It was like pouring rain. It was
books
windy.
are just sucking up the moisture.
These fools were out there with their comics. It was like, the worst thing to be in like rainy weather.
Wow. It's funny because just before we came on and before I was ranting to my wife about doctors, there was on Dateline, they were doing a story about a comic shop owner that killed his wife. That was pretty fascinating. So if anybody wants to look up, I don't even know. Well, how does that work? Is it airing later in your time frame, or the whole time travel thing boggles my mind.
Here's some of I'll show you some of them. This is just like recent, stuff. Some of it
I remember that.
Some of it's recent. Some of it I had never seen this one before. I don't know what the hell that is.
Issues of that somewhere.
But I see this, free lunch comics. Like, the hell is that?
Indie.
Bill and Ted's Most Triumphant Return.
Oh, God, yeah.
So there were a couple of those.
Oh, yeah.
Shoot.
Oh, wow, nice.
Got a Solar. Oh, I got an issue of Ed the Happy Clown that I was missing. That's Chester Brown. That's
Chester Brown.
the cool indie. You know, it's hard to find that.
Yeah, Bob
Got some
Breedtall
issues
doesn't
of
like
this
superheroes.
series by this that sets off Christians called God is Dead.
Wow.
An Avatar book.
Coffee table book.
Grindhouse.
Mm-hmm.
I actually found Hellboy
nice.
Box Full of Evil, which is one of the early ones I was missing.
Nice.
It's like in a dollar bin. You know, like I would have actually paid $5 for it or something. Look at this. Kind of a reimagining of Joe Palooka.
Really? That's
50s
interesting.
Joe Palooka comics. I haven't opened it up and had a look at it yet.
Yeah, let me know how that is.
You know, got a couple of issues of Joe Palooka, and then
You got some Robot Fighter too?
some Magnus Robot Fighters that I didn't have. So, I mean, I did pretty good. I only spent about maybe $60.
That's not bad.
And I got that Barks comic and you know, a pretty good sized stack of other books. So I was pretty happy.
I would recommend to everybody that's into collecting, even if you're not looking for back issues, just thumb through it, because I mean, I'm not really looking for books, but I like thumbing through because I like just, you know, seeing the covers and seeing the stories and just kind of getting that vibe. I can't explain it. It's a weird thing. Just, you know, rifling through the long box and seeing what's what, because you're going to run across stuff that you didn't know existed, for one. That's always a treat.
Yeah.
You know, you may think you know all the comic books out there, but, you know, I don't know all the books. You don't know all the books. There may be a gem sitting in there, and you'd never know it if you're just buying your books off the new rack and not paying any attention to the long boxes. Take 10 minutes out of your trip to your LCS and just go through their back issues and see what's what. You won't be disappointed.
And I'm gonna have to go.
My wife got the house, but I got the Sony.
Darn. I thought they were going to give me a Sony.
Most people feel very special about Sony Trinitron Color TVs, probably because Sony Trinitron Color TVs are very special. You see, it's not just a TV, it's a Sony.
I hope he's not disappointed. I think he was expecting a Sony.
One of the greatest movies of all time, George C. Scott as Patton.
Commence firing.
George C. Scott in his Oscar-winning role, and Carl Malden head a magnificent cast in Patton, winner of 7 Academy Awards. A special single-night presentation, Tuesday on NBC.
This computer is the brain behind an extraordinary game from Parker Brothers, codename Sector. You use the computer to track down an unseen sub. The sub uses the computer to escape and counterattack. Your mission, be the first ship to sink the enemy sub.
Range 10, speed 9, firing range. Depth 3, fire. All right.
Codename Sector, the board game where you match wits with a computer.
How about a winner for me?
New Schlitz Light. There's a new taste in Schlitz Light. The taste of natural ingredients brewed into a Pilsner beer. New Schlitz Light. Still less filling with a taste that's bigger than light. Gentlemen, here's to fast horses.
Schlitz Light and those who love them.
Schlitz Light. Natural Pilsner beer.
The true and terrifying story of Lauren Elder. Alone, trapped on a mountain, and I Alone Survive. Monday.
Get a little style in your life. Add a little light to your style. Everything in life that's worthwhile comes to you.
Introducing your next car, Chrysler LeBaron for 1979. It's got a look, it's got life, a certain style that very fashionably avoids looking like all the others, which maybe says something about you.
Chrysler LeBaron. 2 doors, 4 doors, and wagons in styles that fit your life. Yet this 2-door LeBaron medallion is priced and sized with cars like Cutlass Supreme comparably equipped. Come on, live a little. Put a new Chrysler LeBaron in your life and add a little life to your style.
The Steelers go at it with the Oilers. The Patriots take on the Cowboys. Part of exciting NFL doubleheader action. Next Sunday on NBC. Check local listings for the games in your area.
It's drag racing champion, 240-mile-an-hour Tom McEwen. And 40-mile-an-hour Fred Dreyer, dune buggy champ of the L.A. Rams.
Hey, Fred, you better watch the speed limit.
Look, Tom, they don't call me the Sandman for nothing, you know.
Yeah, but first of all, you're a Pennzoil man, right?
I put Pennzoil quality in all my buggies.
Pennzoil quality.
Ask for it.
Yeah.
Introducing Hertz takeoff rates. Save up to 35% on the average weekday rental when you take off Thursday through Sunday for a minimum of 2 to 3 days. Take off in a subcompact for only $13.95 a day. Fairmont's $15.95. Granada $17.95. Thunderbirds $21.95 a day. All with no charge for mileage. There are some restrictions, so check with Hertz. Take off next weekend with Hertz low takeoff rates.
At Pioneer, we don't build a high-fidelity receiver the way some of our competitors do. Instead of a pressboard bottom, our SX780 has a metal one that limits interference. It has power meters and a DC power supply for richer bass. It's things like this that have made Pioneer #1 among people who care about music. And isn't that why you buy high-fidelity components? Because you care about music? Pioneer's SX780.
Who's America's greatest band leader?
America's greatest band leader is Spidell. Spidell.
America's greatest band leader is Spidell.
Spidell's elegant new band leader is Thin Line 2, the thinnest twist of flex ever. It'll make your old watch look new, or your new watch look better.
America's greatest band leader is Spidell. NBC, yes, NBC Sports. NBC, yes, NBC Sports.
And I'm going to have to go back to this show. I mean, apparently it's been going on for several years. I had never heard of it before, so I don't know where they're advertising it, but obviously someplace that was eluding my notice. And
How did you find out about it?
Somebody told me about it. I was at my local shop, and I was talking to somebody on Saturday, the day before.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, are you going to go to this show over in Yorba Linda tomorrow? It was like a one-day show, and I'm like,
what the hell are you talking about?
What are you talking about? And it's like they call, oh yeah, look it. So I looked it up on the internet, and I'm like, damn, look at all these dealers on there. So I like, okay, I'm gonna go. You know, it's like $10 to get in. You know, so, but I made up the $10 on the deals I got.
Right.
So I guess I spent $70. I spent about $60 on comics plus the $10 to get in. It's still, I think, worth, you know, it was still a good deal at that price on all the stuff I got. So,
how long have we been doing this show?
Since the very first one, like 6 or 7 years,
Jesus
8 years.
Christ. Has it been that long? Have we ever talked about comic shops? Yeah, this question popped into my head the other day. Have I ever asked you if you, let's just say, we both win Powerball. We both have more money than we could ever spend. Would you open up a comic shop? An LCS?
I have zero desire to run a comic shop.
Really?
Absolutely no desire whatsoever to run a comic shop.
What if you didn't even have to run it? What if you're just the silent partner? You just walk in your bathrobe and your coffee cup and just grab your new books and.
I don't want to have anything to do with the comic shop. I'm a comic fan, and I know too many people that when they get involved in the comic shop, it becomes all dollars and cents to them.
Ooh, that's a good point.
It's a business. And, you know, and some of them can like manage it, but it just, it all because it skews that even the people who like do it, you're talking to them and they like, and maybe they were always like that, but it just like, it all becomes, what is this worth? What is that worth? And you know me, I've never been a what is it worth kind of guy.
Right.
With my comics. I mean, I know what I need to pay for ones that I want to get, but I'm not all dollars and cents where it's like, ooh, I have a collection that's worth X amount of dollars.
Right.
You know, I don't, it ruins the enjoyment of it for me. And it's like having to worry about the business and, you know, ordering stuff. And it's like, I feel sympathy, I guess is the best word, for people who run these shops on just trying to keep up with, because, man, I read previews every month, and there are 1,000 different comics in there.
Right.
And, you know, I would want to, you know, stock all, I would want to stock all these different things. But boy, you could just go out of business so fast. You know, you buy like indie books, even paying, you know, 50% a cover on these things. You're out a couple of bucks per.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't sell, you're sitting at, you know, then you're waiting for someone like me to come in and buy it out of $1.50 bin, and you're losing, you know, $1 or more on each one, you know, just to try to get some cash flow turned around. And you never know. I mean, it's like you get people who start a pull list and then they don't come in, and, you know, you're sitting on all kinds of inventory. It's just like there's so many variables there. And then you got to deal with these really rabid, you know, guys who are in, like, you know the movie Clerks?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the guy who's sitting on the floor through the whole movie looking for the perfect dozen eggs?
Well,
I've been in the comic shop.
Guys. I worked in a comic shop.
I have been in the
years.
comic shop when there's one of these guys in the comic shop, and he's like looking at, there's a stack of X-Men comics there this thick, and he's looking at all of them to try to find the one that's the most perfect corners.
Yep.
And you know, and it's like you got these guys bitching at you because there's like a little crease on the comic book they bought. And it's like, I absolutely would not want to deal with that. That would just
enjoyed it
suck
so
the
much.
love of comics out of me.
I enjoyed it so much that even though the salary was garbage, I wasn't making anything, no benefits, the hours were terrible, but I loved it. I loved being that guy behind the counter for some reason, and I cannot figure out why. And I didn't really go out of my way to know the product that well. You know, I knew what I liked to read, and if somebody had a question, my recommendation was, why don't you buy that one and read it, and then let me know. But I can totally picture myself if, for some reason, a bunch of money dropped in my lap, that I could open up a shop and just, you know, if I'm that rich, I really don't care if it succeeds. I mean, I would like it.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably one of the best ways to get a stack of money like this to turn into a stack of money like that.
Listen, you are more than welcome to come in the store at any time and just get whatever you want. And I get to yell at the kid behind the counter, no. Don't you know who that is? That's Bob. And then I could fire the kid on the spot because he didn't respect your status in the store.
That was funny because I was at my local shop. Like I said, I met this other guy that I know that asked that I see him at like conventions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one who told me about the Yorba Linda comic show. But there was another guy in there, and he's like, "Are you Bob Bretal?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "You do Comic Spectrum, don't you?"
Wow.
It was like only the second time that's ever happened. I'm like, yes, matter of fact.
Did I ever? I love stories like that. That's great. One time I was in Home Depot, and I was actually, and this, I know this sounds crazy, but I do it occasionally for technical reasons. But I was listening to an episode of the Pop Cult Online while I was in line, and the cashier took my credit card, and she looked at it, and she said, because I guess I was talking to somebody also. I was with somebody. So she saw the name, heard the voice, and she's like, "Are you Rick Gordon from the Pop Cult Online?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "I listen to your show." It's just like I didn't know what to say. It was like, "Oh, do you like it?" And she's like, "Yeah." So it's like, what are the odds? And then it turns out she was actually a friend of a friend. My wife's best friend, her stepdaughter, is friends with this girl. So like it's like some weird little, 7 degrees of separation. She knew who I was. So it wasn't that big of a deal, but it just kind of caught me off guard, and it was kind of neat.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah, to be semi famous. I'm trying to think of what else. I had something else neat. I don't know. So what else is going on? What have you been up to?
Your weather deeply disappointed me when I was back in your neck of the woods, man.
What are you kidding? It was 54 degrees the other day.
I know. I was. You guys are all
took the cold
crying
with
about
you.
this epic blizzard and stuff. I'm like bringing like a big overcoat and scarf and gloves and all this kind of stuff. And I get there when they canceled my flight, and I had to, I was supposed to fly out on Sunday, and they canceled it, and I had to fly out on the next flight available to me was Tuesday afternoon.
Holy cow.
So I didn't get into JFK until like midnight Tuesday.
Oh, wow.
But when I landed, and there's a blizzard and all this, there was barely even any snow on the ground. I guess it had gotten warm afterwards, and all the snow melted. I mean, there was some, like, when I got over to Jersey City, there was snow kind of piled up, but in New York, they plowed it all away, and there was, like, really no snow at all.
Well,
where's all the snow you guys are crying about?
When they did the plowing, they got up, got all the garbage, the homeless, everything. So it's just like a clean sweep.
It's fresh.
And it was weird because up where we are, we're about 2 hours north, 2.5 hours north of New York City, and we got nothing. It was nice up here, considering it was, January, and it was in the 40s and 50s, and all of my friends downstate and my parents were calling up, making sure we were okay. It's like, what are you talking about? I'm wearing a T-shirt and I'm, outside picking up dog poop because it's so nice out. So
yeah. Yeah, I was like, I wasn't even from California, and I wasn't even particularly cold. It was like 48, 52. It's like, okay, what? I was expecting it to be like epically cold or something,
What was that movie? The Day After Tomorrow. You got a frozen Russian tanker in the middle of Fifth Avenue.
I was, thinking I was gonna be able to walk across the river from Jersey City over to the,
That would have been amazing.
You guys are all like, "Oh, the blizzard coming!
The end of the world!
All the airports are closed. Curfew. People can't get on the streets.
The supermarket shelves are empty."
And it was apparent, so got a lot of snow, but then it just all went away. Like I show up and it's like, where's all this epic snow that everyone was, is closing airports and canceling my flight and causing all this trouble?
Yeah, they had to whisk all the congressmen away before they get snowed in and actually have to do some work. Funny thing about this area, especially Watervliet, where I am, whenever there's a big snowstorm coming, because we do get them from time to time, if you go into the supermarket, you can always tell when there's going to be bad weather because all of the white bread will be gone. All the good healthy bread, the 12 grain and the whole wheat, there's plenty of that. But all the Wonder Bread and the Bimbo bread is all gone.
Is that like some people like just like the really crappy starched refined flour when it gets cold outside?
Yeah.
They figure they can make sandwiches and lay them outside and they'll just vanish into the snow. It seemed like you'd want the dark bread in case you dropped your sandwich, you'd be able to find it against the backdrop.
You want something a little hardy, you just don't want this piece of styrofoam just disintegrating. It just cracks me up. Because I went there specifically there's this 12 grain bread that I really like. It's very dense and delicious, and they had tons of it. And it's like, must be a storm coming because there's no Wonder Bread whatsoever. We're a white bread kind of place here in Watervliet. Here it is, the end of the beginning of February.
Beginning of February.
No snow. It was nice
Super Bowl
out this
tomorrow.
Weekend. Is it? I don't pay any attention to it.
You don't watch Super Bowl?
Not at all. Not at all. I'll be.
I normally don't, but I've got some friends having a Super Bowl party, so I'm going over there tomorrow.
I really haven't done it in a long time.
I don't really watch football, but it's just like an excuse to have a party. And I mean, I like the commercials almost more than I like the game itself, And you just watch in case like everybody who cares is like starts screaming or something. You can like look and say, "Oh, okay, I saw such and such a play that happened." If there's conversation about the game, But it'll be fun to go to the party.
What's going to be more fun is going to see Deadpool on Friday.
Oh yeah, this is funny because when I was talking about like I like the Arrow TV show, but I don't like that they turned the comic book into it.
Mm-hmm.
Same way it's like they turned Shield over. I'm not like a DC Marvel preference because they turned the Shield comic into the Shield TV show.
I saw
you got
that.
Phil Coulson and Agent May and all this. I don't care about the comic. I mean, it's like I'll watch the show, but I don't need the comic.
Yeah.
But
there's something
conversely,
disjointing about it. It's weird. Yeah.
Like X-Men. I'm not a big X-Men comic fan, but I love those X-Men movies.
Mm-hmm.
It's particularly the last couple. Days of Future Past and what was the other one?
First Class.
First Class, yeah. I mean, I really enjoyed those, and I'll watch more of those. And the same thing with Deadpool. I cannot stand Deadpool as a character.
Me neither, but I can't wait to see this
never
movie.
been able to make it through reading an entire Deadpool comic, and I have tried. That doesn't mean that it's bad. I mean, it's written to a... I mean, if I first came upon Deadpool when I was a 12-year-old boy, I would probably think he's like the funniest freaking thing on earth, and I would still love him now. But when Deadpool was invented, I was 28 or something, and it was just stupid to me. Yeah, Deadpool, Spider-Man.
I tried getting through it, and it just like you said, it didn't click.
But the movie looks funny, and I'll go see the movie, and I'll enjoy. I'm guessing I'll enjoy the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Which is
he just might be a better character on screen than he is in the book, in my opinion.
It's just they're different things.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you see something on film. I don't mind when the film is not an exact replica of the comic. Because it's a different audience. you make changes, you do things, as long as they make them in kind of a respectful way. I guess I didn't like when they would make just random changes for the heck of it. I mean, it never sat well with me, even to this day. And it wasn't like high art, but remember the Hulk TV show?
Yeah. Yeah.
David Banner.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why was he David? Why couldn't he be Bruce Banner? The guy's name was Bruce Banner. That always bugged me that they changed his name. And it just, to me, it's like some Hollywood exec sitting there saying, I'm going to put my fingerprint on this. And he make some stupid change.
Well, you heard what the story was, didn't you?
No.
The story was, and apparently Stan fought for it to be Bruce Banner because it's his character.
Yeah.
And the powers that be, and this is all hearsay, thought that the name Bruce Banner sounded too gay. So they changed it to David.
Well, again, and that's exactly it. It's some Hollywood jerk wanting to put their thumbprint on the movie because of out of ignorance, and it was why do you do that? There's no reason to do that.
It didn't add anything to it, and it definitely took away from it. Because that show was created for you and me, basically, and that was a thing that really was just stuck in the back of our heads, or even 40 years later. It's a stupid decision, and why was it done? You know, for somebody else's ego, because he was, maybe coming to grips with something in his own life. Who knows?
I mean, it didn't bother me, and it's funny the things that'll bother you, right? Because it didn't bother me that they changed it from being a gamma bomb to it being a laboratory experiment.
Yeah, it actually worked for me.
I didn't mind that at all. I mean, that change sort of made sense.
Right.
But changing his name, there was no reason for that. It just, why do you do that?
Well, we made Bruce his middle name, so, we didn't really change it that much.
Yeah.
All right, so comic version versus other version. You saw the Ant-Man movie. How did you like that version, the movie version, versus his other incarnations, which is probably just comic books at this point, right?
I mean, it was slightly different, but I mean, it was fine. I enjoyed that movie. I mean, you had the relationship between Scott and Hank was different.
Mm-hmm.
They're inserting, the character of Hank's daughter being Janet.
Right.
And they'll make her the Wasp and all that. It's like, that's okay. I mean, I don't mind that much. I mean, it just is what it is. They kind of change Hawkeye for the movie, but not... and it's sort of indefinable, but I think you can tell when the people making the movie are actual comic fans, they seem to do it in, because like Joss Whedon and a lot of these guys making the Marvel Studios movies, and even the guys at Fox that have been making the last couple, you can kind of tell that they're fans of the property,
right,
and they're doing stuff that kind of just works.
Right.
Or hell, have you seen, you ever watched the Netflix Daredevil?
Yeah. Oh my God, I love it.
I mean, that's a great show. And it just, it's not exactly like the comic, but it's pretty close. And it certainly worked better for me than the Ben Affleck movie.
I was hoping you wouldn't bring that up.
Well, even the Ben Affleck movie, they did a director's cut of that movie.
Oh, yes. That extra 15 minutes makes a hell of a
way
difference.
Better.
Yeah.
Than, it was funny how just the subtle changes between the theatrical release and the director's cut made a world of difference in how much I enjoyed that movie.
Yep.
But the TV show just brought it up an extra couple of notches.
There's something about that whole TV universe that just feels very comfortable. Because it is exactly the same feeling that I had when you and I first started reading Marvel back in the day. We were in our own little universe, and even though we're watching a story about Daredevil, Luke Cage could be going by on a motorcycle in the background. We would know it, but nobody else would. So it's got that kind of warm feeling, and I can't wait to see the whole thing played out. It's going to be good. I love Jessica Jones. Iron Fist, that's going to be tricky because that was a character that the only reason. No, this sounds so shallow. The only reason I had any interest in that character was the martial arts aspect, which I was kind of into because Bruce Lee and everything. But if you look at his mask, he had Spider-Man's eyes, and that's oh wow, he must be kind of. I'm serious. It's when I first saw it, it's like, wow, he's got like Spider-Man eyes. I wonder what that's all about. Let me get this book, and that's what happened. So
I always liked those weird off center characters. Iron Fist, Master of Kung Fu, Son of Satan. Which boggles my mind that there was a comic that ran for any amount of time called and starring the Son of Satan. Can you imagine today having such a comic?
Not at all.
They had to change him to Hellstorm, right?
This was a great little book because he's kind of on the periphery of the Marvel universe. So you hear him mentioned, he's kind of there, but I remember the first story that I ever got, and there were no capes, no superheroes. It was Steve Gerber at his best, just writing a really solid story. And I got hooked. And that was probably the first non-superhero book that I got introduced to that just really kept me going. And I went from this to Howard the Duck to, all the other stuff down the road. But, you're not going to see books like this anymore. Candle for St. Cloud. The Night of the Laughing Clown. You ever remember that one?
I love that one. I had that Power
record. Yeah. I have it hanging up back there. It still kind of creeps me out to this day. I got to listen to that. Ooh, you know what? That sounds like a fun project. I might do that. Break out the old Superman record player and we'll play a... We'll do a live reading. Did you have a lot of the Power records? I know I did.
I had the Captain America one.
Mm-hmm.
I had the Man-Thing one. I had a Fantastic Four.
The Way It Began.
I didn't really have the DC ones.
You have Mark of the Man-Wolf? The Spider-Man?
Yeah, I had the Spider-Man Man-Wolf one. Captain America one with the Phoenix, the son of Baron.
Yes. Conan?
I had the Conan one. I had the Spider-Man one with the big dragon guy on it.
Oh. I don't remember that one.
That one, I don't remember what... The other ones were just reprints of comics, but that one I don't think was.
Oh, you know what? Here, just vamp a little. I think I got something here. We're going to the Spider-Man room real quick. And... Oh, no, it's not what I was thinking of. You know what? It's almost that time of year where I might have to move the recording facilities back into the Spider-Man room. I kind of missed that. Found a couple of these up on the wall. They're not Power record. Well, I guess they are.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yeah, it's like a little 4. I got like 4 or 5 of them with some really substandard art. Just crank it out. The kids won't care.
It almost looks like it's like some kind of weird knockoff from a foreign country or something.
I know. But those were fun too, guys. I used to sit there and read along with them, and I want to say that Stan did the intros to those, or maybe not. Or was I just imagining it?
I don't remember. It's been a long time since I listened to any of them.
Huh.
I used to play them a lot, though. I mean, I really liked the Captain America one, was maybe my favorite. And I liked the Man-Thing one.
Mm-hmm. The Fantastic Four one I listened to a lot. And that was a weird story because it was Ben put on a thought projector for some reason, and then he just reminisced about the origin of the Fantastic Four, and it was just a retelling of the origin. And
sorry.
Hi.
You just got home from work.
So yeah, that was fun. And Mark of the Man-Wolf was interesting because that was a book that was one of my earlier parts of my collection, because I started collecting with 121. That would have been 125, 4.
124, I think.
Yeah. So, way back when, I used to read comics voraciously. I would read it over and over and over and over again, 10, 15, 20 times, so that I had the whole thing memorized. And I remember getting the comic to Mark of the Man-Wolf and noticing there were differences, because they kind of had to excise anything that happened previous to that story.
Right.
And that was my first exposure to editing, because it was just like, wow, that he didn't say that. What, that Peter didn't say that. He said, what's going on? And then I would, take the two books and compare them, and it's like, oh, they can't mention Gwen or the fact that his girlfriend just died.
That's true.
But like you said, I probably have some, but I've never really seen the DC stuff out there.
Yeah, and there were DC ones. There was Superman and Batman, and there were some Star Trek ones.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of different things. But I only really had the Marvel ones. I can't even remember where I would have gotten them from.
You just saw them in a department
because they weren't at it. I mean, because there were no comic shops back then, and I must have gotten them at, they wouldn't have been at the liquor store or the 7-Eleven type place that I got my regular comics.
I would say it'd have to be at a department store or someplace where you would get regular records. I mean,
yeah. I mean, there was like a pick and save that's where I would get most of my Big Little books.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, did you have like TG and Y?
The hell is that?
It's like a 5 and dime store.
No.
It's kind of, like you must have had dime stores though, right?
Ben Franklin, Woolworths, that type of thing.
Because we didn't have like Ben Franklin, but we had this one called TG and Y that was a 5 and dime. They'd have that big area with like all the penny candy, and they'd have other kinds of just junk. So maybe I got it at one of those kind of places, because that's the kind of places that would have like just a big tub of Big Little books, and you'd kind of whirl around through it and find, they were like a dime a piece or something, Yeah,
it would have either that or like maybe, because there's the pharmacies nowadays are nothing like they were back when we were kids. And I found an old-fashioned pharmacy not too long ago. I mean, it looks like it hasn't changed since the 50s, so I got to go in and see if they have comics in there. See if they have spin racks in the wild. But you could get, like, the one I went to, Hopewell Pharmacy, you could get basically anything there. It was like a small department store. I mean, the place was huge, and they had everything. So I'm thinking probably the bulk of them came from there.
Yeah.
Because they, probably over next to the calendars or whatever. Because, I don't know, who would buy something like this?
That's very weird.
Take a good look, because it's not even that attractive looking.
That guy is weird looking.
He's wearing your hat. That's the problem.
He is wearing my hat.
Who is this guy? And he's the Mad Hatter of Manhattan. So we're already in copyright
How would
trouble.
the Mad Hatter be wearing a Robin Hood hat?
Oh,
Makes no sense.
And if that didn't get you, the back artwork should really. That's the closer. That's the Spider-Man we know and love.
That's awful.
Hey, it happens. All right, buddy. Let's wrap this up. Where should we go if we want more information about anything we've talked about tonight?
ComicSpectrum.com. Go look on the news feed for those sales information. You got reviews up every day and current solicits. Also on the news menu, you can get all the current solicits for comics. The April solicits are out now. So what's coming to a store near you in April? And I need to be doing my April list at some point soon. That time of month. It's a few days into February.
Yeah. So when's the next previews come out?
It came out. I mean, it comes out the last Wednesday of the month.
Okay, so
it came out last a week ago Wednesday.
So
I got it in my DCBS box that I got this week.
So I should be able to go to an LCS and pick one up, maybe?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Maybe I'll do that, and we'll go through it together.
Where is... I've got it somewhere around here. Oh, here it is. So it looks like that's one side, and that's the other.
Ugh.
Harley Quinn and the Gang of Harleys.
Oh, boy.
And the Marvel previews has got...
oh, yeah. Look at that.
The new Black Panther by that Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Stelfreeze doing the art. And they are doing a Poe Dameron Star Wars series.
The ever popular Poe.
Everybody loves Poe.
Everybody loves Poe.
So that's that.
All right. Well, I'll go out and I'll grab a copy tomorrow, and then we can go through it.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Let's do it one day this week.
Yeah.
I do have to go through it and fill out my DCBS form.
I'll help you.
for the month. It should be out there. The spreadsheet should be on their site at this point.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, then, with that, I bid you adieu. Tip your hat. Be a gentleman. Uh-oh, he's frozen up. Oh, there he goes.
Showing you my feather.
You earned it. All right, pal. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye.